Today I'm going to share with you my favorite books of 2016. Hi, I'm Melissa and welcome to Living Your Yoga. Today I'm going to share with you my top 6 favorite books of 2016. So my favorite book of 2016, and I read this book and I reread it from start to finish, and I reread chapter by chapter by chapter, and it was Sarah Avant Stover's second book, The Book of She. It came out in October, and as soon as it came out, I had to have it. This book, I'm seeing what I wrote about it here. Yeah, I just wrote that I reread and reread it. But what I loved about this book was her connection with Mother Mary. I loved how she wrote about healing the mother wound. I loved how she wrote a lot about connecting with our inner critic, which was amazing because I had done this whole series on our inner critic, and many of you commented how much you loved that series on the inner critic. So it was really neat to see her perspective on the inner critic as well. And also, I really liked her connection with the inner child and healing the mother wound as well. So amazing book. I highly recommend it. She's an amazing teacher. She also has a podcast as well, which I would highly recommend checking out as well. My second most favorite book of 2016, or I think I was calling these life-changing books, so they were really life-changing. My second most favorite book was Take a Nap, Change Your Life by Sarah Mednick. And this book was recommended to me by Hannah Gilly, who is a member in our membership community. She does a lot of the weekly challenges for us. It was published in 2006, and it was recommended to me probably back in 2006. It was recommended to me a long time ago, and it was only in September of this year that I got around to reading it. And when I finally read it, and it was written by a PhD who did research on napping. And finally, when I got over some of my misconceptions about napping and read the research on napping, I suddenly realized the importance of napping. And so what stood out to me, because from my perspective, is how valuable napping is for your brain. And especially for people who suffer from migraines, they recommended napping. And how important napping is in terms of restoring and healing the brain. And so what I decided to do after reading the book was to lie down for a nap every afternoon. Just a short nap, and it has been incredibly healing and restorative for me. So, this is a much better spot, Tim. There's no wind here. Right now we're down on, what is the name of this place? It's like a little house community, houses on the water. It's the Wharf, Float Home Victoria. And we've come out on one of the coldest days of the year. It's Boxing Day here, actually. Well, when we're filming this, I'm not sure when this will be released, but it is flipping cold today. Okay, so the two big things that stood out for me today about this book was that, number one, napping does not disturb your nighttime sleeping, and napping is shown to alleviate migraines by reducing their severity and reintroducing the growth hormone while sleeping. So I highly recommend checking out this book if you are exhausted. And you can lie down for a nap at the end of the day when you get home from work. Just check out this book. It's amazing. Okay, then late in the summer of 2015, I began reading Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication. And I started with Judith Hansen Lassiter's book, What We Say Matters. This was another book that I read twice. It was a year of reading books twice. I really slowed down this year a lot. So if something was worthwhile, I did it. And I did it more slowly, and I took my time with it. And if I thought it was good, I stayed with it. So Judith Hansen Lassiter is a yoga teacher. We're just going in circles here. She is a yoga teacher, and she is a restorative yoga teacher, and she studied nonviolent communication with Marshall Rosenberg. So the amazing thing about this book as a yogi was that it was written from the perspective of a yogi. She uses the yoga principles of satya, truth, and ahimsa compassion with Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent communication. So for me, there was a lot of crossover between the two, and it allowed me a really nice road in. And I really learned a lot in this book about having feelings and needs and giving empathy to myself and others. And then from there, I moved into Marshall Rosenberg's book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. Another amazing book. I just finished reading that book. I read it really slowly, really absorbed it, and I'm going to go back and start reading it again. So, yeah, I'm really letting these principles absorb. And I even went to a course in, what's the name of the university here? I went to a course at Royal Roads University this year too on it. So it's been really amazing to bring these principles into my life and to try and integrate them and to have the resources through those books. I returned to Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less by Greg McKeown this year. This was my second time through this book as well. So there's a theme going on here, except for the napping book. All the books I read more than once this year. So this book is a business book, but it's incredibly yogic. I'm sure I'd love to ask him this, but he's either a meditator or a yogi, because the principles in the book is incredibly yogic. It's really about cutting out the extraneous, not about doing more, but doing less. And we use this book as the guiding principle through our Focus Living series, because when I asked people what the biggest problem in their life is, it was that they were having trouble focusing on what was most important to them. And if you're having trouble with focus, you need to read Greg McKeown's book, Essentialism. Okay, is that 6 yet? No, last one. I began my year with Hal Erod's book, The Morning Miracle. If you want to be inspired, you need to read this book. Actually, you can go and you probably find YouTube videos on him, or you can go and listen to him be interviewed on podcasts and stuff. He has an incredible story of overcoming, and he is just an incredibly motivational speaker, and he has an amazing, isn't he, Tim? Tim's laughing behind the camera. But he has this amazing morning routine. And as a yogi, I've had a morning, and as a musician, from a wee person like this, I've had a morning routine since I was a child, because I would get up in the morning and practice my music. So I've always had a morning routine, but it's kind of tweaked and shifted and changed over the years. And as a yogi, I've had a morning routine. And so it was really cool to read Hal Erod's book and hear about his morning routine, and to tweak it a little bit more, and to just get reignited and re-inspired about my morning routine. So when I read that book, I actually bought several copies of it and gave it away to my friends. And I think it's an amazing book. And I would recommend it to all of you. So I'd love to hear from you too. What were your favorite books from 2015? And my Kindle has just died. I'm not sure if I had anything for you. It's maybe just too cold for it now.
It's not that cold.
Oh, there you go. Yes, I do have something for you. So if you would like an outline of my morning routine, which I tweak slightly from Hal Erod's, because it's maybe a little more yogic or a little more spiritual, then you can go to my show notes and go to the opt-in box, and I'll send you an outline of my morning routine so you can have that below as well. So do leave your comments and let me know if you have any good books that you think I should read. I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching. Namaste.
Melissa would love to hear your questions and thoughts. Please leave your comments below the video. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Your reviews help us to share yoga and a yoga lifestyle with others around the world. If you have a question for Melissa, you can leave a voice message at melissawest.com, and Melissa may answer it in an upcoming blog.